Potentially the darkest, most powerful villain we've ever seen in the MCU, completely watered down and washed away for the sake of a love-ridden comedy, and a director who lost his damn mind on set. I've already talked about how they completely destroyed my boy Thor. Made him a depressed clown who does nothing but crack jokes and has sexual relationships with his own hammers, for God's sakes. I've already talked about that extensively in a video of mine. Go watch it if you haven't. The worst thing about Thor Love and Thunder is the fact that the plot actually has potential for a very, very sick story. Arguably the best we've seen in a Thor film. But Taika Waititi and the crew decided to wipe their asses with that potential. Alright? It all starts with GORR. GORR, the God Butcher. The moment I saw the Thor Love and Thunder trailer, I kind of figured this movie was going to be slightly mid. But at least my boy, Christian Bale as the villain, man, you got an Oscar winner there. You have Christian Bale, Patrick Bateman himself, the goddamn crazy slasher, playing a dude who butchers gods. At least we know that's going to be good, right? Did they use him properly? Hell no. He's a goddamn afterthought in this movie. I don't even know if he had 10 minutes of screen time in total. And the screen time he did is nothing. He's one of the most forgettable villains of all time. He's almost as forgettable as the Dark Elves in Thor 2, for God's sakes. He's supposed to be like if Punisher, who lost his family, went on a killing spree in the cosmos instead of just street level. Imagine the Punisher going around killing gods, but having the personality of like a more depressed Joker, which he does in this film. He's like a depressed clown a little bit. He's lost his mind. And he's beyond Omega level in power. In the comics, this dude is beyond. He can fabricate his own matter, which they do show in the film, don't get me wrong. But they don't show it to the extent that they should. The goddamn Necrosword could, in the right hands, is a planet destroyer. At worst, it can nuke an entire species of gods. Holy shit. It can absorb souls. It can absorb the souls of everyone it kills. We don't even address any of this. Let's break it down step by step. The neutering of this character, okay? First of all, this was originally supposed to be the design. He was supposed to be much more like his alien counterpart, but with Christian Bale's face, so you can see his facial mannerisms and all that, which is good. You want to see the acting. This is sick. This is a dude with aura. And even in the trailer, you do see a slight hint that they are going for a horror design. Look at his face in this. He looks terrifying. But in the actual movie, we don't see this. We see a much more watered down version of this concept. Why? They didn't give a shit about this character. They decided to throw the least amount of effort onto him. The opening scene of this film, that's supposed to build up this villain, it's supposed to build up his motivation, is the most rushed, terribly written piece of garbage I've ever seen in my life. His daughter has just died because she's starved and they're on like a desert or something. And then he finds this dude. And the dialogue between them is awful. The Necrosword is just lying around there. And there's like some random piece of exposition from some dude off screen saying, oh, that's the Necrosword, the God Killer. What? What is this writing? God is just like the worst person you've ever heard of, right? He's just talking absolute shit, saying your family means nothing, you're pathetic to me and all that. It's just forced. It's all so forced. And then GORR just gets the sword, gets all of his powers, kills him, is like, oh, gods must die. Boom, done. That's GORR. In like 5 minutes. I don't understand if the writers were on crack or they had to. I believe they probably edited out a bunch of shit. This looks so incomplete when I saw it in theaters. The sword. An afterthought. This sword was literally made by Null using the first symbiote and the head of a celestial, okay? Now, I know we're not trying to get into the symbiote territory because we don't want to fuck with Sony and what they're doing with Venom, I get it. But you can use the celestial part. You literally have, in the MCU, it's established, this nowhere is a literal setting in the MCU. That's the head of a fucking celestial. You could have literally tied that to the lore of the sword. You could say Thor needs to venture there because that's where it all started. That's where the sword was built. You don't need to bring up the symbiotes or Null, but you can use this as a central point, a central setting in the story that it could establish the lore behind why the sword is so powerful, why a celestial made sword can kill gods to begin with. Why didn't you do that? Are these low IQ morons that were in charge of this? We know that Taika Waititi was too busy having threesomes and orgies with like Tessa Thompson and Rita Ora, for God's sake. So he was too busy with that to focus on this shit, all right? This whole movie is a giant what the F to me because there were so many ways they could have easily just made this film better, but they didn't, all right? The opening of this movie should have been like the opening scene of Fallout. Fallout, where Walton Goggins' character, the ghoul or whatever, It starts with him and his family, how he was before he turned into a villain, how he was with his daughter. And then you see some shit happen in the back. Maybe in this movie, in the opening of Thor, two gods are fighting and it leads to a large scale destruction. And he's trying to save his daughter. We establish his love for his daughter early on here. This whole scene needs to be built up properly. He's trying to save his daughter, but this family gets fucking wiped out clean because of this. And the only thing that's left that he can see in the dust is a sword fallen from one of the gods that's died in this battle. And we don't know who, we just see that. And that's it, boom! You can do this, that's the ultimate way to set that up. That's the ultimate way to set that up, and you can do it in under 9 minutes. That's like an 8 minute scene. Just make it as long as the Fallout opening was. You idiots. Marvel, why am I able to do your job better than you fucking morons? But instead, no. We need to remove time to build up Gorr so we can focus on Thor flirting with a goddamn hammer. Gorr scenes after this are him fooling around with kids, like scaring the shit out of them, and then having a fight scene where he almost kills Valkyrie. He should have killed her. He should have stabbed her because she's a terrible character. Fuck Valkyrie. Him having a final fight with Thor where all the kids get powers and are able to defeat his like symbiote creatures and shit, and then him making a wish to eternity. But that scene, Gorr's moment is taken away because we need to have Jane's moment. A lot of Gorr's moments are taken away because of other characters. Gorr has this ending where instead of having the last wish to kill all the gods, he brings back his daughter. Fine, that makes sense for the character, but there's a better way to do all this. It seems too perfectly wrapped in a bow to me. All this seems very kiddie, man. We don't need to do that. We can do better. Let's address the elephant in the room right now. Partly the reason why Gorr was an afterthought. Valkyrie is a terrible character. Horrendous character with no responsibility, and they try to make me buy that she should be the king of Asgard. Pathetic. The only reason she's here is we want a badass female to be there. She's diverse enough, let's keep her there, and let's shove her down our throats as long as we can to the point where it destroys every other character. I hate this goddamn character. She represents everything that fans have a problem with is represented by her. And I don't want to be one of these YouTubers who criticizes that aspect. But I'm sorry, when Taika Waititi keeps throwing, and I don't even think it was because of woke. I think Taika Waititi was fucking this chick and shoved her into the movie because of that. That's verified. So, Lady Thor, Jane, she didn't annoy me in this movie as much as I thought she was going to. I thought she was going to try to take over Thor's moment and all that. She does have some cringe lines in this film, don't get me wrong. Eat my hammer. Shut the hell up, man. Shut the hell up. But she didn't bother me as much as Valkyrie. I didn't mind her, and she has a very emotional scene at the end of the film. This is Thor's story. It's supposed to be him and Gorr. This is a man who's lost everything. He's lost all his family. His dad's lost. His half-sister tried to kill him. She died. Loki died. Half his planet got destroyed. He should know more than anyone what Gorr's going through. That's why they have such a connection, him and Gorr, but they don't touch upon this on the movie at all. They should understand each other. They're like opposite sides of the same coin. Gorr is like what Thor was, kind of, when Thor was on a rampage and just killed Thanos, cut his head off in Endgame. Because remember, Thanos had just destroyed the stones. And they could have questioned him, but Thor killed them anyways, right? Thor was just relentless. He didn't give a fuck. He just wanted to kill Thanos out of revenge. Gorr is that up to 11 with like on crack and methamphetamine. So Gorr reminds Thor of himself back then, but even worse. And this could have been Thor's ultimate way to remove himself from, okay, I'm just a comedic guy who's depressed about life and doesn't know where he's going to. Okay, I need to save all the gods. I need to save my kin from someone who's like me. That's the ultimate arc. Now, Zeus is a disgrace in this film, don't get me wrong, but Zeus, there's a perfect way they could have tied him in. Thor should see the way the gods are, pathetic, arrogant people, right? They have no regard for anyone's life, and he should understand Gorr's point. That is something they don't fucking lean into enough. They have these gods here, but they don't lean into it. You have these gods here, but instead of making something dramatic out of it, you decide, okay, let's make jokes about, oh, Zeus is talking about orgies, oh, the weekly orgies here, and Thor is getting stripped naked in front of everyone. What is Taika Waititi on? What is Taika Waititi on? Where's the drama here? This could have set up the darkest rivalry between him, because now he knows exactly where Gorr's coming from, because he feels the same shit. He sees a reflection of himself in Gorr. Gorr represents what Thor could have been. Legit. Imagine Thor went full psycho mode after Loki died and went on a rampage, right? After losing everything. That's Gorr right now. Thor sees that evil potential in GORR. And we need to fear GORR as a villain. We don't fear him. His rampage, he leaves bodies of gods everywhere. Sith is a chick who was nearly a love interest for Thor. She was a god he knew. Her death is made to be a joke. Her death should be brutal and dark and scary. Her death should scare us because it tells you the consequences of GORR being anywhere. He's a terrifying man, but no, they make a joke out of it. The joke about her not going to Valhalla. What is this? It should feel the same way when Thanos killed Loki. We were like, oh fuck, Thanos don't play around. That's what we need to feel from GORR. We don't feel that from this. Here's a proper ending. Here's how you fix this. A little bit, yep. GORR should be ready to nuke all the gods. I don't know how. Maybe he uses his necro sword. Maybe he uses the god bomb like he did in the comics. I don't know how. He's not going to do a wish thing like with Eternity. He's going to try to nuke all the gods. They're going to stop him. Thor's going to fight him in a full-on fight. Meanwhile, she sacrifices her power to destroy this device that he's using to nuke all the gods, whatever. So she sacrifices her power and turns human as a result. And GORR gets defeated here. GORR escapes and is now pissed. We're leading towards the third act here. Meanwhile, Jane is seemingly good. She's human now. She doesn't have cancer anymore. They think they've won. Thor's like, okay, maybe I can actually have a life with her now. Maybe I can actually be happy. Fate does not have that in store for my guy. GORR's arc was going from the god killer who needs to destroy these terrible, corrupt gods to, I am angry at Thor. I hate Thor because he stopped me. Now I'm going to make him feel what I felt. I'm going to do this. I'm going to kill a mortal now. That's his arc. The point of no return for GORR is, instead of being a god butcher now, he's going to make an exception for Thor. He kills Jane. Stabs her. I don't know how. Kills her. Thor goes full god mode. This is the Thor we need to see. True, not nerfed, ultra powerful Thor. This is going to be like Bullseye and Daredevil after, spoiler alert, somebody dies in Daredevil Born Again, and Bullseye's seen laughing in Daredevil's face. That's what this needs to be. You know my pain, bro. GORR did this to spite Thor. That's the most tragic third act you could have. And Thor, in his anger, finds a way, maybe through Zeus's lightning bolt and his hammer, he destroys the Necrosword, or so we think. And now my boy's powerless. GORR's powerless. He doesn't kill GORR because I'm sick of movies killing their villains in the first movie. No. Let him live, imprison him somewhere, but he doesn't kill GORR. He breaks the Necrosword so this can never happen again. And in Jane's last words, her dying words, she says, Thor, you have a duty. You need to be the king of Asgard. You need to be what your father and the entire Asgardian people hoped for you. This is what you were meant to do. That should be her dying words to Thor, so that Thor can take his mantle as the freaking king of Asgard and boot her out of here. Valkyrie is a dumb, literal alcoholic. Her character is an alcoholic. Why the hell would anyone make her an alcoholic assassin that worked for Asgard? Why would anyone make her the king of Asgard? That makes no sense. Have him take his rightful place. Through pain, through hardship, we took 4 movies to get here, but we finally did it. That's exactly what you should have done with Thor, and he was the perfect catalyst for that. The darkest villain that pushed Thor to the ends of the earth and made Thor accept his destiny as the king of Asgard. That's how you do it. And then at the end credit scene can be the shards of the Necrosword pulling back together, symbiote style, and then floating across the space to their true owner, their true maker. We don't need to imply who it is. We don't need to say it, but we know it's Null. That's how you do it. Why is Marvel just dumb? How is a cokehead doing this? Lapping circles around you idiots. If you want to know why Ultron was also nerfed, and how they could have maybe fixed that too in Age of Ultron, watch this video here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.